Even now, whenever I recall what happened, a cold chill runs down my spine. This story isn't horrifying because of some ghost or monster. It's terrifying because humans were behind it. This is something that happened to my own brother, Ryan, 6 years ago. Back then, Ryan had just graduated college. He was determined to land a government job, but with so few openings and endless delays in the public exams, he knew it might take him at least a year. With our family struggling financially, desperation began to creep in. He needed to find a way to make money, and fast. But no matter where he looked, he couldn't find a job that paid enough to support even himself. Just when he was about to give up and accept a miserable, low-paying gig, a strange opportunity appeared, one that seemed too perfect to turn down. An old teacher of Ryan's, Mr. Wilson, who had always liked him and knew about our situation, recommended Ryan to a wealthy family nearby. Their son needed a tutor for his art classes, and Mr. Wilson thought Ryan would be perfect. All he had to do was meet them and make a good impression. The family, the Millers, seemed warm and welcoming when Ryan met them, especially the grandmother, Helen Miller, a retired bank manager living in comfort off a hefty pension. Everything seemed great, except for one thing: their son, Ethan. Ryan had never encountered a kid like Ethan before. 10 years old and already unbearable, entitled, arrogant, vicious. He stormed around the house like a tiny tyrant, ordering everyone around, throwing tantrums, and treating even his own parents with disgust. According to the family's astrologer, Ethan was in some kind of life-threatening phase that would last until he turned 15. Because of this, no one dared punish or even scold him, terrified they might somehow bring disaster upon him. Ethan, of course, milked their fear for everything it was worth. Curiously, though, around Ryan, Ethan behaved unusually well. Maybe it was because Ryan was 6 feet tall, built like an athlete, with a stern presence that even adults found intimidating. Ryan started tutoring Ethan the very next day. The pay was more than generous, so he threw himself into the job, determined not to mess it up. Ethan's antics were manageable when compared to how he acted with his family, where he grew even worse, seemingly compensating for having to behave in lessons. For a month or two, things stayed stable. Ethan still refused to do any homework. When Ryan asked why, the boy would flash a smug smile and say, "Homework's boring," like he was mocking him. Ryan hated that smile but could do nothing. Disciplining Ethan was strictly forbidden. Meanwhile, Ethan's behavior at home spiraled out of control. He started hurling meals he didn't like across the room, cursing at his parents, demanding better food. Sometimes he'd act out even with Ryan present. Ryan saw the silent rage and helplessness building in Ethan's parents' eyes, like a volcano ready to erupt. But somehow they never snapped. They just kept giving Ethan whatever he wanted. And then, everything changed. The next time Ryan arrived, expecting the usual chaos, he found Ethan sitting still at the table. Calm, silent, focused. For the first time ever, he had completed his homework. Alarm bells immediately rang in Ryan's head. He asked if Ethan was feeling sick, but the boy didn't even look up, he just kept writing. All through the session, not a word passed his lips. He even ate his meal quietly, finishing every bite without a single complaint. Uneasy, Ryan approached Mrs. Miller afterward and cautiously asked if something was wrong. She smiled and waved it off, saying they had given Ethan a traditional remedy, something called burnt water, known locally as jalpara, to help control his wild behavior. She insisted it was completely harmless. Ryan didn't argue, but a deep sense of dread settled in his chest. In the days that followed, things grew stranger. Ethan no longer spoke at all during lessons. He barely lifted his head from his books. When Ryan asked him anything, he just nodded robotically. And he no longer called Helen grandma, Now it was always ma'am. No hesitation, no warmth, just cold obedience. Whenever Helen gave him a command, Ethan would immediately drop whatever he was doing and obey without question. It was like someone had switched off the part of him that made him human. Ryan could feel it in his bones. Something terrible was happening. There was no way a wild, mischievous boy could become this lifeless and mechanical in just a few weeks. What exactly was in that burnt water? Determined to get answers, Ryan went home that night and called our grandmother, whom we all lovingly called Nana. She had deep knowledge of old remedies and of darker practices too. When he told her everything, her reaction froze him. Nana explained that burnt water wasn't medicine at all. It was a dark ritual. Through chanting forbidden spells and blowing onto water, it became cursed, capable of twisting a person's mind, robbing them of free will. Used too heavily, it could kill. Used carefully, it could turn a person into a puppet. Ryan realized then that Ethan hadn't been cured. He'd been broken. Ryan knew he had to get out. He called Mrs. Miller and lied, claiming he had secured a government job and would be moving out of state immediately. She wished him luck without any sign of surprise. Maybe she already knew he had figured it out. He never stepped foot in that house again. 6 years passed. Ryan truly did earn a government position through hard work and sleepless nights. Life moved on. Memories faded. But some wounds never heal completely. One afternoon, fate played a cruel trick. While shopping at a busy mall, Ryan spotted Helen and Ethan. Instinctively, he turned his face away and tried to slip past unnoticed. From the corner of his eye, he saw Ethan again, laughing, tugging at Helen's sleeve, begging for a toy like a normal, spoiled child. Relief washed over Ryan. Maybe, just maybe, they had stopped giving him the cursed water. Maybe Ethan was free. Ryan dared to believe it, until he overheard a chilling exchange as he passed by. Helen, when we get home, I expect you to complete everything I told you. Ethan, yes, ma'am.